last section is this idea of violence and pacifism. What's the Christian view of violence? Well, in the Old Testament, unfortunately, God seems to be at times saying it's okay to go to war and leading his people into war as well. Certainly with a man called Joshua, he led the people of Israel to fight other nations and to defeat them. However, when you come into the New Testament, Jesus is always talking about loving your neighbour, forgiving those who hurt against you, and even him, when accused by his people that were going to ultimately end his life, did not retaliate, did not seek to try and get out of it, but accepted it. And so there's an example there of not necessarily retaliating even when it's wrong. However, today, self-defence seems to be a reason why we should not necessarily attack or believe in violence. If you are defending yourself, you're not believing in violence, you're just defending yourself as well. So another thing is that we should pursue non-violence and we should protect others as well. That people need protecting as well as this. And also, there is a quote in the Old Testament that says this: turn your swords into plowshares. Swords, you know what they are. Plowshares are what farmers use. So basically, put your swords down, pick your farming equipment up and live. Don't fight. And that was a verse from the Old Testament, again, can be used to say violence is wrong. And then also, there's that quote I've used before, which is, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. Don't actually allow your enemies, and don't fight back and retaliate. So most Christians believe violence is wrong. Initiating violence, being violent is wrong. To protect yourself, however, clearly you're not committing an act of violence. You're protecting yourself and your family. So there is a balance there of those things that we need to think about in terms of violence and religion. Right, I've just about finished all the key areas on that particular area of religion, peace and justice. There is a couple of things I'd like to say. One about the treatment of prisoners. If you go back to the crime one over there, you will see that treatment of prisoners is something that some people think prisoners get treated far too well today in prison. There isn't enough punishment. So what do Christians believe in how you should treat prisoners? Well, they think, firstly, regardless of any crime you've committed, you should be treated with dignity and respect. You shouldn't be necessarily locked up for 24 hours. You shouldn't be beaten or tortured. You should be treated with dignity, have access to water. You may be locked up, but that doesn't mean you're not a human being. And if you remember, there was a woman, when it came to social justice, we looked at, called Elizabeth Fry, who was a woman, a Quaker, who went into prisons and improved conditions for women. And she did that because she believed that every human being was created equally in the image of God and should not be treated badly just because they've committed a crime. And you need to bear those ideas in mind. Maybe you think that people aren't punished enough. If they were punished more, they wouldn't actually do as much crime. Maybe you think that if the death penalty was there, they wouldn't commit crime as well. So you need to make sure that you're clear on what you think in these particular areas as well, in order to answer an E question correctly. Have a listen to this again, stop it where you need to, go back over the areas you're not sure about, and make sure, whatever you do, that you revise before this exam.